jumps into the arms of his teammates at home plate as LSU takes the series with the walk-off two-run homer off the bat of Cade Doughty. 4-3 is the final score. Wrap it up in purple and gold. Tigers with the win move to 29-14, 12-9 in SEC play.
A lot of fun in the box yesterday. Chris Blair, of course, the voice of the Tigers, on the call for the LSU Sports Radio Network. It was all the rally caps, wasn't it, Chris?
I tell you what, the rally caps work. They really do. And I want to thank you, Hunt, and I appreciate it. And if you need help with that internal hernia that I think you probably created for yourself yesterday, because I know the fan you are, the excitement, the drama that was there, and while I'm screaming my head off as if I'm being stabbed, you were completely silent, and you could just see the emotion, and I could feel it right there in the booth. But that's one of the reasons. It's kind of like golf. You miss a lot, you make a lot of mistakes, and then you get to the 18th tee box, and you put one down the middle, like 305, and you're like, yeah. Let's play another 9. That's the moment you look for when you do this for a living. And thank goodness, you and I sat there late in that game in between breaks, and I think you actually said it on the air that they played well. It was a game where runs were at a premium. And if you lose this game 3-2 because you hit a batter, you threw a pickoff away, a fly ball foul territory scores the run, Georgia did very little to get that lead. It just wouldn't have felt right. So the baseball gods got it right. They put things back in order, put a lightning bolt in Cade Doughty's bat, and Tigers win.
I feel like a game that could be a springboard potentially, a weekend that could be a springboard for this team.
It's one of those deals. I got asked that earlier this morning as well, and I certainly think that's the positive you want to take away from it, Hunt. I just know that with Coach Jay Johnson, I think he wants his team obviously to have momentum, have confidence, but they've got to get ready now that they go back out on the road, and it's SEC baseball. So again, I think what we saw this weekend, and even some of the tough games they've had on the road this season, when they go to Tuscaloosa this weekend, it's not as if they haven't seen everything. I mean, they've had some big highs, obviously the sweep at Mississippi State, taking 2 of 3 from Florida early in the season, in the regular season SEC series. And then they've also suffered, a sweep on the road at Arkansas in games where at times they were completely dominated. So I think all of that experience helps this team. And they found ways to win those tight games. That's one of the things Coach Johnson said before the season, and he really started talking about it through the non-conference and early conference schedule, is great teams that are able to make runs and win games are those who can win the tight games decided by 2 runs or less. So when you look at LSU's resume, and yesterday's a perfect example of being able to pull it out in the bottom of the ninth, I tend to think, yes, being the glass half full, that could be a major turning point for this team, because I still believe it took a while for all of these guys coming from transfer route, coming from out of high school into the college ranks. When you look at Pearson and Stevenson and their contributions, as well as the returning players, are now becoming a brotherhood. It would be nice if they were able to do that on February 18th, but I just think that's unrealistic. I think now you're starting to see it, and it's better time than never.
Going into this season, starting pitching was a big question for this team, but to me, a guy who's really answered the bell is Mikael Hilliard, especially since SEC play started. Talk to me about, what he's been to this LSU baseball team.
It's funny. I walked into the offices this morning, and who's standing in the lobby but Jared Poche. And I bring Jared up just simply because when I think of what Jared did in his time at LSU and what Mikael Hilliard's doing now and really did last year, I mean, those two guys remind me of each other. They're not going to wow you. They're not going to blow by you in mid-90s, upper 90s, or 105.5 miles per hour. They're just great competitors, and when their pitching game is on, they are as tough as anybody throwing 100-plus. And to me, you don't have Mikael Hilliard on this team. I mean, I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but you can start taking away a bunch of wins for this team. Games that he won or games that he left in good shape with a chance for LSU to win or already have a lead. I think that's how important he's been. And you're looking at a team that really has one defined weekend starter based on the numbers and the way they pitch. And that's Mikael Hilliard. And yet here you are with the wins you've been able to rack up, still in a position with 3 weekends left to make that run. And if you don't have Mikael Hilliard, Jeremy, we're not making that run.
Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, joining us here on Hunt and Hill. And I was curious to see how LSU would respond to seeing another legitimate ace in Jonathan Cannon. And they get 2 home runs by the 2 left-handed hitting freshmen. How different is this lineup than it was a month ago with Pearson and Stevenson swinging the bat from the left side?
I think it's huge. And, again, that's the thing I took away from Game 2. Sure, you hate to lose it 12-7. The game kind of got away from you there when the big bats of Georgia just, made Alex Box Stadium look like a small park, which we all know it isn't. They just, tip your cap to the Bulldogs. They got the bats out and got some separation late. But the way they were aggressive and the way they really beat up Cannon, right out of the gate, too. It wasn't as if there was, 1 or 2 big innings. I mean, they were able to really get contact off of him early on, and that's what Coach Jay Johnson, by design, said before the game. He said, we got to go after this guy. Number one, because if we don't, he's going to put nothing up but zeros. Number two, we got to get to that bullpen and keep him, maybe only 60, 70 pitches as a starter, and then take our chances with what's left in their pen. So, again, they're going to see other arms like it. I mean, they're going to see great arms this weekend coming up against Alabama. We know they're going to see good arms against Vanderbilt. They're going to see good pitching against Ole Miss, and for the rest of the season, as far as they go, regular season and postseason, I mean, you're going to see those type of arms come at you. And to me, if there was a silver lining in Game 2, it was the fact they were able to really bat well off of Cannon.
Going into the series, Hunt and I talked about the big batting difference between Jacob Berry from the right side and the left side. Talk about how refreshing it was to see him show some pop from the right side during this series.
No, it was incredible. I mean, you had some people out there, obviously saying, well, he just needs to bat from the left side all the time. And certainly for a while until this weekend, and, the numbers kind of bore that out. But, these coaches deal with these guys every day. Obviously, Jay Johnson coached Jacob Berry last year. So there was no wavering on that, against the right-handers. He's going to switch right and left. And to show that he has the ability to go over the wall center field, which, there's not a lot of home runs at the box hit straight away center field. And to do that from the right side was good. He also picked up a couple of other hits. So, again, when you're trying to devise your lineup, and I think that's why Barry is such a key unit to that lineup for Coach Jay Johnson, because if you look at Friday and Saturday's lineup, it was pretty much carbon copy with Pearson leading off. And then he told us, hey, look, Sunday against the left-hander, we're going to have to change this up a little bit, get a few more right-handers in there. And to be able to just simply switch Barry and hopefully not lose a lot. And I think if he continues to hit the ball well from the right side, you're losing virtually nothing. And that helps LSU going farther as again, they face left-handed.
I was impressed with Dutton yesterday. That was as long as he has gone in a game. I hesitate to ask, do you think that his role could extend there to 6 or 7 innings? Because I just don't think that's the way that Jay wants to run it. Your assumption is going to be that they're going to continue to go to those bullpen guys around the 5th, and that's just the way this team's built?
I think they're confident doing that. I would guess, and this is just me guessing again, I would just think that if Sam is able to go 5, maybe extend that to 6, that's not going to hurt Jay Johnson's feelings at all. I mean, again, especially when you're using him in a Game 3 situation where this past weekend they still had a bevy of arms at the ready, but maybe not as strong as they were in previous weekends going into a Game 3, certainly a deciding Game 3. So I think that, the one thing I'd say about Coach Jay Johnson, which has just been super impressive to me, and I hate to sound like I'm surprised by it as if I questioned his ability coming in, taking over this program, but his ability to know when it is time. And, you can watch him toil down there in the dugout as guys, are getting longer into their outings, whether they be the starter or even a reliever that's getting into trouble. He has no problem, has no hesitation going in and making that change. And for that reason, I think if, I was looking in the 3rd or 4th inning to see, how far was he going to let Dutton go. And obviously Samuel had a great outing, as you said, his longest outing of the season. But I'm not so sure that it's, okay, we're going to give him 5 and then we're shutting him down. I think it's more about, okay, if we're not showing any weakness and he's continuing to get out, draw weak contact, we'll go with him. because I think the deeper you can get into a game, same reason I look at Mikael Hilliard. The deeper Mikael goes into a game, and then you can turn it over to either Cooper in a situation or go to the hard-throwing Razorman. And now with Gervais kind of rising to the top as the closer, you know, if you only have to get an inning or two out of those guys, you know, Friday, Saturday, and we all know he's willing to go with them each game if he has to, if they're ready to go. So I'm not so sure Dutton's literally on a pitch count. I think it's just Jay's got a good feel now of his personnel of, all right, he's starting to waver a little bit. Let's go to the pen.
Enjoyed it yesterday, Chris. It was a lot of fun. Great call, and we'll do it again soon.
Let's do it again. Enjoyed it, Hunt. You guys have a good rest of the week.
Thanks so much for watching Hunt and Hill on YouTube.
Now do us a favor. Hit the red subscribe button below and throw us a like. See you next time.